Hello, this is my 2006 Citroen C4 VTS Coupe, which is a car that I have been relentlessly peddling online because I'm raffling it. I'm doing that thing that like car YouTubers do now. It's boring, isn't it? No, I'm going to raffle this car. Tickets are £1. They are £1. You could win this car for £1. I don't know why I said pound like that. It's weird. This car should be filling me with joy because I like this car. In fact, there's been times where I've thought to myself, I don't know if I want to give that car away. But money's money. Only I'm not enjoying it. I did a video the other day where I revealed the car and spent some time walking around it, driving it, looking underneath it, stuff like that. And in that video, I mentioned there was a noise. There was a vibration coming from the car, which the seller of the car hadn't told me about. In fact, he didn't actually tell me anything. He said it was all fine. But it doesn't make any difference, because if I'd have driven the car with that noise, I would have said, oh, the exhaust's rubbing something. That's easy to sort. So about 50 or 60 quid later on exhaust mounts, because they're all cast aluminium mounts that bolt on. They're strange old things. And I've had the whole exhaust off from the cat back. I've had the centre section out. I've had the back box off, and that doesn't sound like a lot of work, but I kind of half welded it all together, so it was a bit of a pain in the arse. I found some bits which look like it might have been fouling. I found a couple of mounts on the silencer are borderline. I didn't think they were going to last much longer, so I've welded some more metal into them. It ain't pretty, but it's strong. The reality with the exhaust on this car is it's probably got 18 months, 2 years, maybe 3 an absolute stretch. I suppose it really depends how much the car gets used. I mean, as far as raffling the car goes, the thing you are going to win, if you win the raffle, is a working MOT Citroen C4 VTS Coupe. That is what it is. I don't want to supply the car with this noise because it ruins it. And I mean, I've kind of got a deadline. 30th of November is when the raffle ends. And if I haven't sorted the car, then it has to go as it is. But I don't want it to. I want it to go nicer because it's kind of ruining it. It really is ruining it. And I took the whole exhaust off. I replaced all the mounts and everything. No different at all. Nothing. I found a few bits on the exhaust that looked like they might have been touching. They were kind of close. But there was no evidence. There was one part on the silencer which looked like it might have been kissing a heat shield. But it was a soft heat shield. It was one of the sort of composite woven heat shields. It wasn't a tin, a piece of metal tin or anything like that. And to be fair, the noise isn't like it's hitting a heat shield anyway. The noise is like, if you can imagine a bit of your exhaust pipe hitting a part of the body. So it's actively touching the body, not a heat shield. It's just literally pipe on metal body. And then you accelerate and it vibrates and pushes together. That kind of noise, that deep, graunching, horrible vibration, it's terrible. It does it so badly. Ian, the hub-nut man, he was down here yesterday. He took this car for a road test. He took it for a drive. I don't know if he liked it or not. I don't know. I don't think he did. But it's way too pretty for him, isn't it? And I said to him, do you think that noise is going to come out in the video? And he was like, yeah. It didn't really come out in mine, but it's really loud. So having had the whole exhaust off and found nothing, what do I do? The car has had new engine mounts. That would be the main thing you'd think. You think, oh, engine mount. It's had a new engine mount up here. I changed that a few years ago when I owned it last. And the one underneath, that was renewed. I'm going to have to go looking for something like that. It is something to do with the engine moving in the engine bay when you load it up on the throttle and things moving with it. It's that kind of thing. It doesn't do it so much when you lift off the throttle. It's just when you load it up and the engine tries to tip forward in the engine bay, something is rubbing and touching somewhere and it is ruining the car. And I do not want the person who wins this raffle to have it like that. At the end of the day, I will say to them, there is a stone chip here. It has 4 odd tyres on it. It is not mint. It is not perfect. It's done 180,000 miles. But it's a working car. It's drivable. It's usable. You could just get in this and use it. But that noise ruins it. I also don't want a situation where someone wins this car and they are not a spanner person themselves. They don't have the tools. They would just have to drive to a garage and pay someone to fix it, because then it kind of stops being getting a car for £1 again, doesn't it? It's not £1 anymore. It's taking it to a garage and spending God knows how much getting it fixed. So I want to try and find the problem. That's what I'm going to try and do today. I'm not confident in the slightest. Not at all. I've no idea. I've had a look round the engine bay. I've had a look under the car. I'm not confident. There is one thing I'm going to try before I do anything taking it apart, is I'm going to put a piece of rubber around the exhaust on a part where it is quite close to the body, and then just drive the car to see if the noise goes away. I don't think it will, but that's the first thing I'm going to try. After that, airbox out, battery out, get the engine bay as bare as I can. Underneath it, that's the compressor kicking in. Underneath it, I'll take off the lower engine mount and swing the engine around like this and see what's hitting. I can't set fire to it because it's a prize. I swear that's like 2 millimeters. Some idiots lowered it. So there is the exhaust. I had it off from this clamp backwards. It's got new rubber here, all new rubbers around the rear silencer. And ow, that hit the end quicker than I thought it was going to. And yeah, I mean, that's the lambda sensor wire touching the heat shield. Yeah, now, that's the ramp. It's silent. Now, if I do that, I think it's hitting the bumper, because I've got the tailpipe. Yeah, I've got the tailpipe sat very close to the bumper at the moment, because I've pulled the whole exhaust over as far as it can go away from this, just to eliminate it. But there was a point up here where I thought it's close to the body. There. But it would be a stretch. It really would. I'll wrap some rubber around it and then just quickly drive it just to eliminate it, because when you get to this point, you've got to eliminate the simple things. No. Right, so the next thing I'm going to do is take out the airbox, which is something he put back in. The previous owner threw away my induction kit that I made, which I'm not apoplectic about it. I nearly am. He threw that away, and he's refitted this box, but this isn't off a C4, this is off a BMW. And he didn't seem yeah, I don't know. I'm going to take that out, take the battery out, have a look under there, then I'll undo the lower engine mount and I'll start swinging the engine around and see what fouls. I've already taken this cover off over here to have a look at this engine mount, and nothing that I can see. In fact, I can take this off while I'm here. There's only one of the nuts holding this thing on, but I don't think, no, in fact it's not that, because I've driven it without this. and it still does it. Right, I've literally got 5 minutes into it, and I've removed this airbox, which has been chopped about quite badly. I don't fully know what's happened. Well, that kind of sums it all up, really. It's not done up, that screw's loose. There's a washer inside it, and that's one of the original fixings from the airbox being bolted on before when I removed the airbox. When I took the airbox off and all the fixings came with it, I put them in my hand and I put them in the airbox to keep them together. Despite the fact that you could pick this up and shake it like a maraca, it's just, well, the person who refitted it has just refitted it with all the nuts and bolts still in it. Thankfully, on the dirty side of the filter, because if they were on the other side of the filter, well, this wouldn't run very well. Also, the clutch hydraulic pipe there is not fastened to the body. While I've got the battery out, I'm going to reroute the lambda sensors, because someone has changed the lambda sensors on this, and instead of routing the wires properly behind the heat shields, they've just left them dangling down the side of the exhaust. So yeah, it's, as I say, it's not at a happy time, this. Well, it's still getting better and better, because I've taken the plastic tray out that the battery sits in, and the metal tray that sits on has, well, a bolt there, that one's missing, and that one's missing. Well done. It's just as well there are 2 missing screws there, because I've taken the tray out with the remaining bolt that was in there, and it's sheared off. So I can use those mounting holes to mount that tray at least. What I'm going to do now is go underneath and remove the lower engine mount, the one that stops the engine from swinging backwards and forwards too much, and then swing the engine backwards and forwards too much to see if anything hits or makes a noise. Much more room in here now, I can see quite a bit. I can see up to the bulkhead actually. Do you know the clutch wouldn't actually be that bad to do in this? Just noticing that. I did wonder about the... Oh, hello. Oh, what's that? A piece of rubber off the engine mount, well, the gearbox mount, the one that's above the gearbox there. That is the only mount that hasn't been changed. That is perished. What could cause a noise there, though? Right, well, I'm going to take off the lower engine mount, swing the engine backwards and forwards. Then I'll put the beam jack underneath the engine, take the weight off it, and I'll remove this mount and have a look, and hopefully there's some like shiny metal with chunks taken out of it. I mean, if I just need to buy a new mount, I'll buy a new mount, not a problem. In fact, please, please, please let it just be that, because that would just be the best. Right, well, I've unshipped that mount. I can't actually get it out. I can't remember how I got it in, but I've unshipped it. So the engine now rocks about quite easily. And to be honest with you, the exhaust barely moves. There's a flexi section on the downpipe, and that's what takes care of most of it. The exhaust isn't moving at all. What is it? You can hear the oil sloshing in the sump. Alright, well, let's go back up the top, have a look, because struggling to see anything down here that could make that noise. Oh, you can tell it's been jacked up on the driveway by clever people. Look at that. Yeah, they've bent the, oh, nice. Brilliant, well done. Christ's sake. Some people have a bloody intelligence to blow their own nose sometimes. Ooh. Oh, that's it. That's got to be it. Washer that's on top of, why has that got a grind mark in it? Washer that was on top of the gearbox. Gearbox mount. That bit of rubber I put, I mean the stud's not supposed to come out with it for a start, so that's good. The bit of rubber I pulled out was like this. And look. Bit of rubber over the bottom of the mount, revealing a metal ring inside, which is, that's tight against the gearbox. That's the body. Oh, that's, so when the weight comes down on it, that's got to be it. That's got to be it. Right, I've just gone on the raid. That is the gearbox mount, or the transmission mount, from a Xantia Activa. This is out of my silver X Tractiva car that will probably, well, it will be scrapped. It's being broken. Now, the bottom of this, you see? Whereas the bottom of this, it's got to be it. Now, why does that go hard up against that? Sussed it. A little bit of time has passed. Been looking at some pictures. I figured it out. So, this is the mount that was fitted. The stud that it was fitted to screws into the gearbox. The washer went on the gearbox like this, so that bit screws into the box. And then the mount went like that, and a nut went on the top, and all the weight came down on the top there. Now what that was doing, when you tighten the nut up, was pushing this washer into the mount, causing a vibration and basically negating the fact there's any rubber in this at all, because it was creating a solid link between the stud and the gearbox, because there was a part missing. This is the Xantia mount. Now I can actually fit this as it is. It will fit. So I'm debating what to do at the moment. I don't know whether to fit this or to try and repair this. I'm thinking that this one looks a lot more girt than this one. So, and I think it might be quicker to fit the Xantia one. The Xantia one, out of the Activa ML5T gearbox, I think this is a BE4R, so it's a different box, but still seems to fit. Bottom of the mount looks like this one should have looked before an idiot happened to it. And what is missing is this little tube, because the tube goes in there like that. If I hide it, it will focus. Meaning that when the stud goes through it with the washer on it, in fact this one won't fit. I think I'm going to need the stud out of the Xantia. That might curtail my plan. When that goes in there like that, and this all gets bolted together, the tube gets pushed against the washer, but the tube is mounted in the rubber, meaning it stops the gearbox getting pushed against the body of the mount and just pushes against the tube instead. And all the body of the mount is doing there is acting, it'll be basically, if you imagine the tube's in there, it can't be in there at the moment, the body of the mount, it'll be actually just be above it, and it'll be, it's basically the buffer if the gearbox mount bounces up and down if you're going over bumps. That's all that is. It's not actually supposed to sit on the weight on that at all. That's what the top bit's for. So that's the problem. Someone has missed the tube. That's the tube off the Xantia. The C4 does have one, but it's not here. I can't really reuse. I mean, I can reuse that. If I make a tube the right length, I could reuse that. But I'm thinking it would be better to use this one, but the C4 stud doesn't fit. And just to show you, you can tell it wasn't mounted right, because look, the washer has been eating the top of the mount there. Thinking to be done. I'll let you know what I decide. Okay, so a little bit of time has passed, and what we have in here is the stud from the Xantia, the tube from the Xantia, but the washer from the C4. I have not fitted the Xantia washer, which is that big rusty one there, because, well, basically because I thought, well, is there a reason why the C4 has a smaller washer? Could it be that it tries, you know, there are times where it might hit that housing? I don't know. If it was the other one, the bigger one, it would have fouled. So I've just gone with that one. That's the C4 mount. Don't need that. I think the only issue that I can find, well, the only issue I can think of with this stud is that it might make it difficult to remove the gearbox from the engine. I reckon when you lower the, when you lower the, you know, lower it down like that to take the gearbox off if you're doing the clutch, I bet if you take that plate off that the other stud will clear it. I bet that one doesn't. So someone's going to be swearing at me one day. But I have upgraded the mount. So the mount that's going on it is this bad boy here. Now it's a little bit perished around there, but feels okay. And basically, it goes on like so. And that's it. I've checked, it does clear the battery tray, the metal thing there. But it does clear it, I've checked. There's a good 10, at least 10 mil, maybe more, underneath it. And then it is a washer like that. And then, now that's the nut that came off the C4. The other reason I didn't use the C4's stud, the other reason I've opted to do this conversion, is because the thread is not looking clever. It was an absolute sod to remove it. In fact, it was easier to remove this from the gearbox than the nut off that. It's absolutely chewed to bits. So I need to find a nut. Now it looks like, I think that's just M10. So I've probably got a nut I can put on that. I think it can't be on the original clutch. It's done 180k. It's got to have had a clutch. I reckon whoever it was who did the clutch missed that tube out. Basically, that tube missing is what's caused all this problem. Just that tube missing. This is the stupid thing, you know. The little details. The other thing is, I've tapped out that hole there and that hole there. So before it only had one in the middle, none on the sides. Now it's going to have one either side, but not in the middle because I cannot be arsed trying to get that out. And then I'm going to sort out the lambda wires because they're just here, just dangling freely in the engine bay, when I'm guessing they're supposed to be connected to that bracket down there. And I'll route them properly, not stupidly like that. And we're done. We're back together. I've got even more disdain for the man who put this together, this airbox system. In fact, it doesn't even fit now. There's me saying we're done. It just doesn't fit. Oh. It wasn't, the induction kit was only loud if you put your foot down. That's the beauty of them. They're only noisy if you put your foot down. If you don't want it to be noisy, then just drive it at normal throttle and it won't be. Anyway, back together. Some of the airbox is in, some of it's not. I think I'm going to have to make my own induction kit again. I think I'm going to have to do it because that doesn't fit properly. That doesn't fit properly. The air pipe into the back of it is a total bodge. It's just, yeah, nothing fits properly, to be honest with you, because he's completely done a hatchet job on it. So I'm going to take this out now. I'm going to rush. I've got to rush home, but I'm going to take this out. I'm going to keep all my little pinkies and fingers and things crossed because that should be the biggest problem sorted. Let's have a look. Oh, it feels better on the clutch already. We'll know really soon. I think it's sorted. I think it's sorted. There is a rattle inside I need to sort out though. It's sorted. It's only bloody sorted, isn't it? And I've managed to try and turn around in the tightest space possible. Ugh. Oh, I can't believe it. It's so much better. But the noise in the back there is doing my head in. I don't know if that's the top strut mount or something. I need to look at that. Ugh. That's one issue sorted. Now for the others.